No, 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 no. Well, can I say a couple things real quick
Sure,
about
please,
Altadena and the Eaton
please,
fire? Okay,
please.
so Altadena is a community it's unincorporated community in the county of Los Angeles between Glendale and Pasadena. It was originally settled as a community in the 20s and 30s. It was one of the first places in the Northeast that wasn't redlined. So it had a small but vibrant, black community, which was rare up there at the time. But it is in the county. It is not in the city. Right now, the totals for the Eaton fire are 17 dead, 24 missing, and it is in Catherine Barger's area. It has nothing to do with the city, and she's a Republican. So it's a working class neighborhood. A lot of my friends lived up there. A lot of artists live up there. A lot of people, the lower end of the film industry, and a lot of working class people have lived there for years. Really great, wonderful place. It's where a lot of people moved after they got priced out of Silver Lake and Echo Park when they were able to buy a house. And it's a damn shame. I've had several friends that lost everything up there. So um, has absolutely nothing to do with Karen Bass or the city of Los Angeles. And unlike the city of Los Angeles, the county has tons of money, but they were also unprepared.
So,
So
why has there been no attention to the county? Is it just we only want to understand things like this through the lens of, well, there's a mayor in a city, and this is technically in the county, but it's kind of the city, so let's just blame the mayor. And she's the mayor of
well,
LA, which is one of the largest cities in the country.
right, but the county of Los Angeles would be the seventh largest state in the country. It only has five supervisors. They each have
Hmm.
2.5 million constituents, and they don't want you to know who they are. They never have. They used to call them the Five Kings, and most people didn't know who their supervisors were, and they liked it that way because it's got a history of corruption and a lot of money. Their terms are 5 years, not four, and they get three of them. So, they're around for a while. Currently, it's the Five Queens. Um, and if you go to most Angelinos, uh, a lot of Angelinos don't even know if they live in the city or they live in the county, and they
Yeah.
certainly don't know who their county supervisor is, even though you know. If you live in Altadena, that's where your fires come from. And I found this very intriguing because a big portion, not the whole portion, a lot of the Palisades fire is in the city, but Malibu and a lot of other portions were in the county, and Lindsay Horvath, that's her area. Um, I think there's a tinge of racism there. And also I think Karen's political advisors who let her go to Ghana should never be able to work with anybody ever again. I think that's like
Wow. Well,
malpractice.
there was a
There was
warning about the fires
the,
beforehand, right?
the weather service had it dead on, and when lots of people in LA knew what was coming or felt that might come, and the fact that what's her deputy mayor Zeidel that used to work with her when she was in the Congress and now is the deputy mayor. He's terrible. I mean, he should be fired, summarily fired. Um, but I think the problem with being the mayor of Los Angeles is it's not as powerful as the president of the city council, but you're the face. And I think a lot of people think that might be an something that you can use to move up, but it
Hmm.
hasn't worked out for Antonio and it hasn't worked out for Eric. Um, I have a friend that knows Karen quite well. I know one of the reasons that she ran was This is another part of politics I'm not sure most people know. If you're a congressman for either party, you spend 4 hours in the afternoon like a toner salesman dialing for dollars. And I know
Mm,
she hated that because she told a friend of mine she hated it. So, I don't know. She ran for mayor. Um, but yeah, I find it interesting that there's all this punching down on her.
mhm.
And then, Catherine starts the press conference and then shuffles to the side. And, the fire in the Eaton fire's just as big as the Palisades fire, has more deaths, more destruction, and it's a working class neighborhood, and nobody says anything. Plus, all these, MAGA people jumping on talking about it's a Democratic run city. Well, that area, that fifth district, has been run by the Republicans forever. So I don't know what they're talking about.
One of the things that I find really, really egregious, and I wanted to call Jason early on because he's kind of my go-to expert for all things California. When I see this, is that the way I was seeing this being politicized, particularly by the right, as some kind of failure of democratic governance, really annoyed me. Can you talk about why it was so easy for it to be framed in that way, and why we on the left kind of allowed the Republicans to get away with that?
That's interesting, Pascal, because I've thought about this. I years ago I did a project. Jason knows this, but I was traveling a bit in the Middle East, and right now I'm working on a project in Paraguay, and pretty much every country in the world, the city people are the more sophisticated liberal people, and the people out in the countryside are the more rural, often more religious people. And that's how our country is. So most of the big cities are run by more liberal people. Um, Unfortunately, and I've said this, I know there's probably people who watch this show that can't stand Eric Garcetti, but if you get a chance to talk with Eric, you realize very quickly he's one of the smartest people that you'll ever meet. And he got crushed by the city. And Antonio Villaraigosa is a smart guy. These big cities might be ungovernable, but the people who live there tend to be on the Democratic side. And so they're in charge of these ungovernable cities. I mean, it's the city of Los Angeles is an aircraft carrier. It's not a PT boat. But when you have something like this, you need a PT boat, That's part of it. And these are big, big institutions. There's a lot of people inside those institutions who block everything. Um, but why we allow them to say this is a democratic issue, I honestly don't know, Pascal. I think it's an easy sell, and I think the media historically has let them get away with it. And oh, somebody's put it's Chinatown. By the way, it's funny. You have these fires, and all of a sudden, people. Did you know Chinatown's about the water in L.A.? It's like, yeah. Like, have you not seen the movie? Like,
well,
so
well,
does that answer you, Pascal, at all, or?
No, I get a sense of what you're saying here, and that in terms of it's the realpolitik of how things are framed in this country, coming down to the right versus the left, and unfortunately, in a complex political reality, it's easy to cast aspersions to one side. Complexity, we don't do well with complexity in America.
No, we don't.
no.
And